Well, it's been probably 7, 8 years now since you've been in Florida. We've been together. We were just talking about that we met 7, 8 years ago right here in the same place. We were on a job site also, and then here we are today, 7, 8 years later, and it's just really cool. I heard that you were coming to town. I'm like, clear my schedule. Let's see what we can do.
I appreciate that, Jason.
Yeah, and then today, again, we were able to go to some job sites, and I got to learn even more about Equipter and how effective and efficient, and when you designed it, the things that you thought of that made it such ease for us today. And I was still blown away once again, things that I didn't even think of that maybe you pre-thought of that would be an issue and solve some problems for us.
And that, a lot of that came because I was out there roofing myself. So started roofing in 1987, and then 15, 16 years later. And then that really did make all the difference, is because I knew that it would be a great concept if you do it this way, but that wasn't going to be the best. So I did all the little details that now makes it even more successful than just having a great concept without having all those bells and whistles on it. So
yeah, I think when you're a roofing contractor, you have enough stress on many different areas. I mean, it's a dangerous job. There's all kinds of stresses of the job. But when you built the Equipter, you thought about all these things that would be more stress for the roofer. Like, you thought of ways to solve those problems. And I don't think I really realized that until today. And we were talking about that, like little things like, locking in the hubs. We don't have to do that because when the wheel comes up, it automatically does that. And when you're thinking of team members or employees, sometimes those guys are in a hurry, want to get to the next job.
They're going to forget it.
Yeah, and things can happen. But you took that out of the equation.
Exactly.
You made it easy for us to use and effective. And I don't think I would have as many Equipters if it wasn't for that thought that went into it, that ease, so that I can do my job and run the business.
And the reason you wouldn't have as many Equipters is because it wouldn't have worked as well for you. So those little details that probably you weren't even really thinking about, but has made it just real easy for your guys to hook it up to the truck, disconnect it from the truck, and just a real ease of operation. The lid's opening up, I think we talked about that a little bit, gives you 10.5 feet of catch area, and all those details really have helped a whole lot for the contractor to get the full use out of the Equipter.
Well, even just getting it to the job is so easy. Like the hookup, the unhook, like just about anybody can do it.
Sure.
So we can get the guys to the job and get them started right away. And the efficiency of that is just incredible, and me not having to worry about it. They're pretty easy to tow. I mean, you can tow with an F-150. You don't need a huge truck. Our re-roofing crews tow them with Sprinter vans or transit vans. And just, they don't have to have that huge truck, but just all the thought that went into it changed my business.
Sure.
And so that we could focus on what we needed to focus on. And it's made a huge difference for us, and we've grown tremendously since you were here probably 7 years ago. And I'm such a huge supporter of it because of what it's done for my life and the people that work for me. But like we always say, it's all about people. And that's what the Equipters really helped me capitalize on.
Sure. And I just want to mention this, Jason, you have a couple of the small units too. Don't have to spend a lot of time talking about that, but I think they've helped you a lot. But you mentioned people. I've been so inspired, Jason, how Eustis Roofing is really focused around people, and that just shows up in your company. And I feel like that's really been a large part of your growth. And one of those things is obviously you provided equipment, Equipters and other equipment because you care about people, and that helps out for the homeowner, etc. Now you're thinking you're helping other contractors some. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit or not, your vision, or again, what's made you successful. You're talking to other contractors, and again, I'm so encouraged your passion for the roofing industry.
Yeah, I help a lot of roofing contractors now because I think there's a new approach to roofing, or we lost kind of our way in roofing, which is focusing on the job. Like, how do we build a really good job with really good people? And I've seen the industry change a lot where it's just all about sales. And we talk about that all the time, where it's how do we sell the job and how do we collect? And I think that roofing contractors are forgetting the actual install itself, right? The people involved on the install. So if I can have a voice on that, if I can help other contractors, but also if I could stick up for the guys that are installing the roof, because nobody else is. Any event that you go to in roofing industry is typically for sales, right? Nothing there is really geared towards the install. I think Equipter is really a tool that's geared towards the install, which is going to bring you better people. And if you want to transform your roofing company long term, it's going to take people. And so this is a tool that does it. But I want to actually give out what I've experienced and help people down the road so they don't have to go through all those hard knock things that I had to deal with, and make it a little bit quicker so that they're successful, and really help the roofer. The guy that really wants to focus on the install, help him succeed. I'm not as focused as much on these companies that are building sales teams. And so, you know, recently we've had a lot of roofers reach out, and we've lended a hand and tried to show them some of the ways that we've been successful. And that's the first thing I always tell everybody: do you have an Equipter? And well, you know, I don't think it'll work in my market. I don't believe there's any market that it won't work in. I think it's your mindset and how effective it is, and what you do is what's going to make the difference.
Sure. Could you just mention a little bit? I see your crews out there working hard, your Hispanic crews. You mentioned a little bit earlier, sometimes you've got guys coming once or twice, I think, they went to work for somebody else, but then they came back because they didn't like working without the Equipter. Plus also, when you've got guys coming, some of them are like, no, we do it easier without the Equipter, and how you work through those things. Yeah,
so I mean, the number one thing in construction is there's always a labor shortage. There always has been. Here, there's not. You know, we get 20, 40 guys a day looking for a job, and because they want to work here. And we have the tools and the equipment to do that, and the Equipter's been a big part of that. And we've kind of used that as a tool to, this is a really good place to work because we can help you be effective and efficient on the job. Like, you're going to turn more squares, you're going to do more homes, you're going to have more time with the Equipter than without it. So we've seen guys come and go, but they always come back, and then they stay. You know, long term is what we're looking for, like, because they can learn our way, and then the customer is really going to benefit from that. If we have a system that works and people that stay, you're going to really transform the customer experience, the efficiency of the job. But yeah, so typically with a crew, like if I bring in, you know, say a 6-8 man crew, bring them in, bring them on board, in-house crew at this point, we'll take about 2 months where I send a guy that's been working here for a long time to run the Equipter, show them how we work it, and then that's it. After that, they're not working anywhere else without an Equipter. Like, it changes the way that they roof. And so in the Hispanic or the Spanish community, a lot of times I'll put a guy there that can show them that, and it's a game changer at that point. And so it really, it makes the guys want to work here long term.
So it's very obvious to me that you have a lot to offer the roofing industry. When we met some years back, you were across the street. And now I come back and you have how many acres here?
Yeah, so now we're 8 acres commercial property here with some buildings. We're adding more buildings here. We've got a second location in the Villages. But yeah, when you were here last, we were across the street in a one office building, and it's just, and we could only park 3 vehicles on that office, and now we have 65 vehicles on the road. And more than half of them have an Equipter behind them. And that's really cool because we found out what made us really successful, which is the people, but also what helped us succeed at getting great people was the Equipter. So it's a tool that we use, and it's been really effective to put us in the place that we are today.
So literally you have 65 vehicles on the road. On a daily basis.
And half of them are towing an Equipter.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we were talking about the small Equipters, which, again, that's been another game changer for us to get into some HOAs where there's like some pool areas and you don't really want a lot of weight, and to get through those small gates. And we use those too. They're really effective. Also in our repair division, we put them in some trailers and we take them to the job site, and we use those also. So we found a way to use every piece of equipment that you built right here in America, and we really find that really unique and a cool thing to add here.
And so again, I think what's worked a lot for you is not just that you have a good connection with your employees, which is very, very obvious, but then how does that translate to the homeowner viewing that you're the best company to hire because you've got great employees, you've got great equipment. And so I've seen that, I assume that's really been a large part of your growth, is that the homeowners know that you're the company to work with.
Yeah, so that benefits in 2 ways. So everybody typically works for somebody, right? So if you can make that connection of you've got great people at work here and you got a great environment, people want to work here, typically that's someone's going to want to buy from you.
Right.
And so if you work for somebody and you see how somebody else is treating their employees, you're more likely going to connect there and you're going to want to buy from those people. So we've really transformed our industry in our area is really talking about the guys that install the roofs and the equipment that we use to do it to make it efficient. And so homeowners can kind of recognize that. But we also talk about the American dream because it's still alive here. And what that means is we have a guy move here or come into this industry and literally have nothing. And then we see them grow until they become a manager or production or what may be. And then next thing they got their own house and their family. And again, we're back focused on people, and the Equipter was a tool to help those people be successful. They can spend more time with their kids because they're not working as hard, like they're not using as much labor, sweat, and tears. And Equipter really helped us do that. We even have a guy in our office right now that was installing roofs for the last 10 years, and he runs production. And so to us, that's really where we find success. That's our success.
Right. So I'll say it this way. I hear you talking about three things, which mean a lot to me because I, obviously have my family that's helped me in the company get it started. Now we've got X amount of employees, but people is very important to us. So I hear you talking about people, number one. The second thing I hear you talking about people, and the third thing I hear you talking about people.
Yeah.
And I see how it's working for you, and so it's just exciting for me to see how much you care about the community, how much you care about your employees, and I just want to encourage you, just don't look for another way to do it because this is, it's all about people and it's really working great for you.
Yeah, people is number one. I mean, when you're in the industry, it's a long-term investment, right? Like when you put somebody's house on, they're going to be connected to you for the next 15 years. And if you don't have good people, that might not be a great connection, right? So I think on a warranty sense of things, on feeling really grounded and being able to take care of homeowners, you got to have good people. Right. And so, yeah, I mean, even having these conversations really helps get that back deep into me where we know that that is our number one focus, which is people. And we've been successful when we see them successful. Right. So, yeah, It's unique.
Well, it's great to be here and really appreciate you taking the time to interact today and wish you the best as you continue. And I think, like you mentioned a little bit, your vision is to help other contractors, help other roofers to become successul, learning from mistakes that I've made, mistakes you've made, because we've been there and done that. I started roofing in '87, and you have a long history in roofing as well. So I'm so excited to hear that you're looking to help other contractors, and I'm sure that's going to be a great, it's going to be great for other companies to learn from you.
Yeah, we're really excited. So you can contact us on our social media, look out to us, and I'm sure there's a way that we can help you. It's something that we're passionate about, and really, at the end of the day, I want to save homeowners from bad roofers. And so if I can help other people be better at what their trade is, and if I can help the guys installing the roof and encourage business owners to really take care of those people and focus on those people, I think we're all going to be successful.
Right. Can you expound on that a little bit? Save homeowners from bad roofers.
Yeah. So to me, a bad roofer is somebody that leaves the homeowner with a headache. They have all these issues. We have 27 repair guys. That's for a reason, because we see a lot of roofing companies installing roofs that maybe not have the knowledge or the know-how in the industry, or maybe not focusing on people. They're focusing on maybe monetary gains or money or things like that. And if they would focus more on people, I think they would actually get the return that they're looking for. So my main thing and why we've grown so much was to save homeowners from bad roofers. Well, I couldn't save very many homeowners if I'm only doing 1 or 2 roofs a week. Right. So I found a way to really build a system that was really saving the homeowner, giving them a great roof system, and doing it in a huge way where we're doing multiple roofs, 50, 60 roofs a week. I'm going to save that homeowner from potentially a bad roofer. So my goal has always been to save homeowners from bad roofers. It's a huge expense.
Right. Exactly. So, give or take 10 years, you bought your first Equipter.
Yeah.
You bought one, if I recall, or you bought 2 of them right away?
We bought one.
And a couple months later, you bought the second one.
Yeah. So what happened is you were at the trade show and we bought one here in Florida, and we had 2 crews at the time. Okay. So then the other crew's like, well, what about us, And then I thought about, well, how am I going to advertise that we have this amazing piece of equipment and use this as an advantage to homeowners, like, hey, check this piece of equipment out if I can only bring it out to half my jobs. So then it became like, well, I can't advertise unless I have one for every group. So then I bought the second one. There was some issues there where everybody wanted to work on the crew with the Equipter. So I knew I had to fix that, and we started becoming more efficient. They were making more money on the crew that had the Equipter, and I couldn't market it. So now what happens is every time I start a new group or a crew, I got to buy a new Equipter. It's part of the process.
Right.
And then I can advertise it. Hey, check out this great piece of equipment to the homeowners, because I know it's going to be on your job site.
Sure. And the truth of the matter is, if it's making you money for one crew, it's going to make you money for the second. So to add Equipters, it just multiplies your profits.
Yeah, and I would say this too, at the end of the day, we have less issues, we have less damage, we have less problems on the job site by bringing the Equipter. And not only is it efficient, but it's very maneuverable. Like, we can move it around. It's a lot easier than a big dump trailer. Like I said, you can put it on a regular truck most of the times. Like, you don't have to have these huge equipment. And so it like cuts back on the risk.
Sure.
And it really encourages the team that we're invested in them long term. Like, we're buying this equipment to make their job easier. Yeah, we get some benefits from it too, but this is a long-term investment. So when you start working with us that we're a long-term company, and there's a lot of security in that.
Sure. Could you just talk about this a little bit, Jason, as far as what it does in the community? I know you had mentioned you stop at a gas station and people recognize you as, oh, you're the guy with the equipment. I think they call it the trailer.
Yeah.
But that gets a lot of attention for you?
Yeah, I think when you see one and you realize how amazing the product is, it's something different that you don't typically see, that people are like, wow, that's cool. And if I go somewhere, you're the guys with those trailers. Like, we're very recognizable by just having the Equipter.
Right.
So then obviously we start wrapping it so that we're recognized with the brand. Like, you guys became so popular here, we had to like cover your name up and put our name on it. But yeah, everywhere I went, people were talking about, oh, you're the guys with those trailers. And I was like, no, I'm the guys that's the best roofing company in town. And they're like, no, the trailers. I'm like, okay, cool. So the trailers were really something that's like stops your eye. It's not something you typically see when you're driving,
right.
Especially guys that are into mechanics and stuff like that. They're like, what is that? And then when it starts up, you're even more mind blown. When you actually see it operate versus it being towed, you're like, wow, that's crazy. So, a lot of times, like if we do jobs that are near a highway or something like that, and you're moving it around, people see it. It's something that catches your eye. It's just something you don't typically see every day.
I remember when I was still roofing myself, I literally had, in the neighborhood, I'm doing a roof at this house, and the neighbor would come across to take pictures just of the job site with the Equipter. That's how much attention it would get. I specifically mentioned, remember a job where a homeowner was coming over to take photos. That's, again, it really helped in my marketing to get exposure in a community.
Well, you got to remember, I'm in the retirement community of the world, right? Like, Florida is where people come to retire, right? So everybody's kind of home or they're in their golf cart. And so they see these things in action, and they're just so like blown away by it that typically they want to see what's going on. Everybody wants to come out and check it out, and that leads to calls. That leads to leads. We use it a lot in our repair department. If we go fix a roof, we use the Equipter. Well, next thing you know, we're going to do that whole street because they saw this amazing piece of equipment, and it draws attention. It is a marketing tool at the end of the day. It's unique to look at, so it causes people to draw their attention.
Right. So I'm so excited.
Yeah.
What's happening here? The first time I met you years back, is Dad still in the company, or?
He's on the golf course, yeah.
He's on the golf course now, right?
Yeah, so he retired a while back, and he gets to play golf all day. And sometimes we do jobs on the golf course, so I'll get that call like, hey, I'm out here on the golf course. So now we have to watch, like the project managers, but also the backside of the homes where the golf course is, because you never know who's playing on the golf course.
Right. Very good.
Cool.
Tell Dad I said hello.
Yeah, you bet.